Good evening, everyone. So today my first job I've turned up to is one of these Mixergy unvented cylinders. Don't know if you've come across these before. I've only ever come across one in the past. So yeah, this is one of them, and the report is that there's no hot water. So put the programmer on, boosted it, and it's not sending any power to the 2-port. So next I'm going to open up the wiring centre, put my multimeter to volts, and then I want to follow the brown wire from the hot water zone valve, which I'm just tracking back up here. So I'm looking for the brown, and then on there I'll be looking for 240 to see if the programmer is sending the signal or sending the power. So yeah, just trying to do it one-handed, and filming was a bit difficult.
I'm fine.
So yeah, as you can see, we've got nothing on there. Okay, so earth to brown, nothing. So next I'm going to open up the circuit board and see what's going on in here, and just basically track some wires back. Again, I've never done one of these, so I don't really know what I'm looking at, but I'm just going to treat it like a boiler, really. So yeah, just going to track that brown wire there, which was in with the brown on the zone valve. So I'm just going to track the cable and see where it goes to inside here. So yeah, there we go. So following it through.
God, these are a pain.
And it goes up to the top there, next to that blue neutral cable. Yeah. So next I want to be looking and seeing if I've got 240 at that point there.
There's nothing on there. So possibly the circuit board's gone. Right. So I turned it on and off. Now there's a little pair. There, which is in here. Press that. And hopefully the valve is now moved. Okay. Right, earth to brown, 240. Earth to orange. Wow, okay. So I've been there hour and a half, whatever, trying to sort it out. Now this is the second time I've ever come across a Mixergy cylinder, and obviously, as you can see, they're quite quite in depth, and it's all connected to the internet and whatnot. So what I was testing for was in the wiring center, testing for power on the brown to see if the actual PCB or the Hive was sending a signal, which it wasn't. I managed to get it to work once briefly by turning it off, turning it on. It did come in, but then the 2-port closed again, and it was going back to like a default setting, which was to use the immersion heater. So I had to wait till 9 o'clock to speak to Hive. Spoke to them, not Hive, sorry, to speak to Mixergy, and the guy was really helpful. We went through a few things, and basically he changed a few parameters his end, and he's going to get a software guy to look into it, and either he'll have to send somebody out to change the circuit board, which is what I'd already thought about anyway, but I had to sort of wait, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it, to be honest. And yeah, so he's changed a few parameters. It's now working. So it's working now off of the Hive, and it's now working off the actual red little thermostat on the right hand side, and doing the default settings as it should do. So yeah, it's doing what it should be doing. So yeah, that was a pain. Hour and a half gone out of my life. But yeah, we'll get on to the next one, and at least we've learned something. I've learned something there. So, and I've just done a few tests myself, so I wanted to know what the end result is. And as you can see, it's the software. The guy said it could be a software issue, so I'm happy with that. You know, I've covered a lot of bases before I even spoke to him, so which is good. Yeah, let's go. Right, so on that one I couldn't show a lot, but obviously you could see me bleeding the radiator, and basically the whole house was full of, well, most of the radiators were full of air. The pump was full of air, so there was a little air vent above that. Somebody asked me yesterday, how do I go, what's my sequence of what I do when I go into a breakdown? Okay, so if I walk in, what I want to go through is little steps really. So what I do is walk in, obviously have a quick chat with the customer, establish what the problem is. not really worried about backstories, this, that and the other. I'm just worried about what the actual issue is. So I go in, I establish that in my head. I'm like, right, okay, so, you know, in that one there, so I've got no heating, no hot water. Okay, let's go upstairs. First thing I want to do is check that the program is working. So they're sending the signal to the valve's moving across. I can hear the micro switch make, and I can hear the pump running. Okay, so that part of it I know is working. So then what I want to do is go back to the boiler, have a look at the boiler and see what's going on there. So on that one is an old Potterton profile, and I could see obviously it was completely dead. I could hear the pump running. So then what I went straight for is the overheat button underneath, the little like thermostat that trips out. So I went under there, pressed that, boiler fired up. Okay, so we know we've got an overheating problem. So then I want to look into what's actually going on. So then that's when I started going to the rads, found they're all full of air. Customer didn't have a bleed key, never really has bled it before. They've lived there a long time, but they've never really bled it before. So yeah, that's my sort of, and then obviously I want to get it working, get the pump, obviously full of water again. So there was a little air vent above that, bled that, make sure it was circulating. And then, yeah, the rads are heating up lovely. So it was just literally just down to possibly air getting into the pump or just not enough water in the system. So the level was below the pump. So the pump wasn't able to circulate around the system. And the boiler could have just overheated for that reason. Now, the boiler had a great flame picture, looked brilliant. Case seals were good, all that side of things. I don't really need to go into that because if I explain myself on every job, everyone will get fed up. But yeah, that's my sort of sequence of what I do. So I go and establish the problem and then you know, work from there. I'll try and do a full video on that one day. I will try and do a full video on that. But let's get on to the next one. Right, so we've got this job here. Customers reporting sometimes, not all the time though, sometimes the pressure will drop down. So this actually feels okay. I will check the that feels a bit solid, so maybe I'll drop the pressure and recharge that. So I'm going to check this PRV pipe. It's a tiny bit damp in there, so I am just wondering maybe whether the PRV has let by, and maybe that's why it's dropping out. So yeah, what I might do is I might drain the pressure out, recharge this, take the PRV out and go down that route there, but we'll see. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just going to undo this film loop hose here. And just drain the pressure out into my bucket because someone's filtered it properly, which is brilliant for me. Right, so I've got my hose, my inflator on there, and as you can see it's only up to 0.2 of a bar, so we'll just recharge it up to 1, or actually the factory pre-charge is 1.5, so we're going to go to there. So, filled with a lot of water. Lovely. Right, so we're up there, which is good. Right, so we're here now. We're here, lovely and tinny, whereas before it was a bit tinny up here, dead sound at the bottom, whereas now it's lovely and tinny, so we know that's up to 1.5 bar. Pressure is good. I'll go inside, bleed the radiators as well in a minute. So just want to double check this PRV, which seems to be lovely and dry now because I've taken it out, cleaned it up. Seems to be lovely and dry. Yeah, so yeah, definitely lovely and dry. Happy with that. So yeah, I think that's what, you know, what I've noticed on this job, and I can't see any other issues. But obviously when I got here, the pressure was up to 2 bar, because obviously it had risen because of the heating's been on, because it's still cold. You know, it's -1 still. So the heating's on all day. So yeah, hopefully this won't rise up again now. I can imagine it's probably just been getting up high, and then they went away over Christmas for 2 weeks. And the pressure was down to 0, so it's obviously been just dripping very, very slowly over time. So yeah, happy with that. Right, I just thought I'd just break this one down really for any new people. Obviously this looks like an absolute jumble of pipe work, but it's actually relatively simple when you sort of break it down into sections. Yeah, so all I do is I look for my key components. Yeah, so filter stands there, that's your return, then drops back in. This is your flow on the right, comes out, drops down in this lag in here, comes across here and down into the pump. Yeah, so that is your pump, and it comes across here. So this is your bypass, automatic bypass. Comes along here, and then you've got one that comes up into this 2-port here, which then comes up, and then that'll go and feed your radiators. And you've got another one that will come across, and it feeds your flow and returns into your cylinder, which is this one here. So it comes in here, flow in, and returns back to the boiler. So that's that there. Obviously this is your pressure relief valve, your pressure gauge, your actual expansion vessel. Quite a big house. I can imagine probably 25 radiators, something like that. Decent sized one on there. Yeah, so, and you know, you can see on here as well, so you've got some more pipes that are running along here. So yeah, so you've got hot outlet is your middle pipe, so you know that'll be going off to your taps. This one here is your secondary return pump, which will be going round to all the taps as well. It'll be creating a circuit around the whole house, so then you haven't got to wait so long for your hot water. And then this is your cold feed. So this is your balanced cold going up into the property as well. So yeah, relatively simple when you break it down. Just you know, if you are new, try not to overwhelm yourself and just break it down and try and pick out your key components, and that's how I usually do it. Right, and had it running for about 10 or so minutes now. The PRV still dry, which is good. That's what we want. Hot water, but no heating. Okay, seems to be fine. Okay, so it is retracting. So plug it in. I hate back boilers, so yeah, this is on a back boiler, this 3-port, but I'm just going to give it a check over while I'm here, just make sure it's all good. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be okay. I've got it apart at the minute, and I've just done my smoke match and just going to do the smoke bomb, just come out to get a lighter for that. So yeah, but it's just such a mission just to even check these things over, you know what I mean? Just doing the smoke bomb test, so yeah, you can just about make out the smoke at the back there from the chimney. So extractor's on. Right, so we've got this one here. Customer's reporting that she has to keep on topping up the pressure. I said to her, okay, how many, you know, what, every day or whatever? She said, no, just once a year. You know, you just like, well, that's not keep on, that's just having to do it. So, you know, I explained that, you know, every time you bleed a radiator, the pressure will go down. But she did say that the pressure does rise when the heating's on. So I'm just going to do a quick drain down, repressurize the expansion vessel, PRV's dry, and yeah, job done. Okay, so let's let him by.
So this job here turned up, ran a customer on the way. He said to me that the boiler's leaking. Okay, all right, what boiler is it? He was like, oh, it's an old Ideal Classic. Okay, right, let's hope it's not the main heat exchanger then. So yeah, got here, and as you can see, mate, it's just rusted through. Yeah, it's obviously been ongoing for a while, and but everything was soaked. Like the PCB had gone, the insulation panels were damaged. So yeah, can't get the parts anymore. So, well, the heat exchanger.
Yeah, as you saw, heat exchanger split, parts are obsolete. It's obviously a 30-year-old boiler now. So yeah, just drained it down, made it safe, isolated the gas, took the fuse out, all the usual stuff, left the relevant paperwork for safety, because obviously I can't run the boiler, so the boiler's non-operational, so I need to leave an at-risk notice anyway. And yeah, he's going to get a couple of quotes, and yeah, go from there really. So yeah, on to the next one, or I may be done. I'll see. I'm going to have to make a couple of phone calls.
Guys, thanks again for watching. Please, if you haven't, please like and subscribe. Let's try and grow this. Let's take it to the next level now. Everything's growing lovely. Let's just keep pushing. So yeah, I thank everyone. Honestly, thank you everyone who likes, subscribes, who comments, who messages me. It's brilliant. Honestly, I really mean that. So yeah, got some great things in the pipeline with regards to the training. I've been to look at some office spaces today. So yeah, I've had probably about 10 people today say that they would be interested in it. So yeah, let's keep going.